Welcome back for another episode of the Bernardo Brothers custom truck, the 48 GMC Radical Custom that was created in 1959 by the Bernardo Brothers. We're going to continue on with their legacy and get this truck back on the show circuit, honor them and their name and the truck itself. So today's episode is going to be dealing with the door panel. I'm going to do it in the original style that they had with the tuck and roll pleated material. They had used naugahyde back then. I'm going to be using vinyl for the moment. So I need to make a template of this area, and I started doing it on the other side for the other door. Basically, it's just going to be the same, only flipped over for the reverse pattern. Basically, I just took this material, traced it out, got the general pattern, cut it out, located the holes for the window crank and door handle, as well as the mounting holes for the screws. Fairly straightforward, just a couple of curves on the edges and the corners. So we'll take this inside and start rolling out the material and get it applied to this backer board. Then later on, we'll be, before we put it on, we'll put the window back in. I have a new window track channel for it, new regulator, latch. So hopefully by the end of this episode, we'll have this door all buttoned up and it's really going to start looking like something now. So I have the panel that we had cut out for the door laid out over this tuck and roll pleated vinyl material that I bought, and just basically going to cut out a piece that's about 2 inches oversized so I can fold it over onto the back side. So go ahead and get that finished cutting out. Hey, patina. And what I want to do is put a plastic liner over this here to keep it as a moisture barrier. So I'm going to go do that, get that piece cut for here now, and then we'll put an adhesive to keep that in position. And then we will fold over these edges, make little slices in the corner, fold them, and give it a nice finished off look for the top side, which we'll flip over once we get done there. I'll also mark my holes for the door handle and window crank and get those cut out as well. So we got our plastic liner here. I'll just trim it to fit and then get that adhered to the backer board. Oh, here we have Maggie, the other helper. So we got Maggie and Patina. Yeah. All right. Excuse me. So we'll just start spraying adhesive to the backside to where I'm folding these flaps of material over to stick to the backer board. And then we'll put that plastic liner in the center. All right, we'll get this backside sprayed up for the plastic liner, and we'll be done with this panel for the most part. Just get this laid on here the best we can, and then we'll trim it. Right now it's oversized. So it's the thought that counts, a little bit of a moisture barrier. Normally you would see these on the door pan, on the door itself. This way, this ensures this is covered 100%. All right, let's see what it looks like. Oh, that looks real nice. I like it. Very happy with it for working with what I have, and doing it on the floor of my living room with just some basic materials. Came out real nice, and it's gonna suit the truck just fine for now. It's very similar to what was in the truck originally, as far as the roll and pleated material with the vinyl, tuck and roll, some may call it. So for now, it's perfect. I got the holes cut through for the door handle and the window crank. I got all the edges folded over nice and tight, sealed on the back side with that moisture barrier plastic. The screw holes to mount it onto the door have all been punched through. I have a couple ideas I want to do for the top and the bottom to give it a really finished off look. So let's take this out to the truck now, get it installed on the door, and we'll get started on those trim pieces I was just telling you about. So I'm going to install the interior release latch mechanism. What I did was I welded a washer to the end because I need to run a cable through it for the manual door latch release from outside. Being this truck has the door handles removed and shaved, the only way to get in is from a hidden pull cable. And later on, I'll probably be putting back the remote solenoid that they had on the driver's side, which electrically opened up a solenoid to release it. But if that ever failed, you'll still need a backup source to get in. So good old-fashioned manual pull cable works every time. So I have that cable here. What I did was I drilled a hole in the bottom of the door to put the pull knob in, and I'm starting to route the cable through the door ultimately to get to this part here. So let's go ahead and get this installed, then we'll get the cable final routed. So I'm going to drill a hole to install these little cable brackets that I have to hold this in place so it doesn't get caught with the window regulator going up and down. So I'll get one in here. Okay. So you can see I have a lot of extra cable left. So I'll cut this, get a couple more clips on there to hold it. Okay, we'll get a rough measurement of what we need. I will pull the cable back so I don't cut it too short. Push the cable back through. Okay. Get a couple of more retainer clips installed. So now that we have the release cable secured to the door, we can finish it off by threading this cable through that washer that I welded onto the back of the release rod. So we'll slide a ferrule on the one half, get this through the opening. Easier said than done. And we'll get the other end through the ferrule. Now we'll crimp that connector. You can see the movement there, pulling on the rod. So we'll shut the door and try it out. So you can see down here the release knob that we just installed. So when I pull that down, it should actuate that rod and open the door, which it does. Very nice. I'll probably black out this knob so it's not as noticeable, kind of hide it in the shadow of the door. All right, so we got that done. Let's move on to getting the window installed, and then we can start putting on the upholstered door panel that we made earlier. Time for the window. I got the track cleaned up, got the window cleaned up. We'll get it fitted in there. Basically, it has 4 screws that hold it to the track. So the tricky part is getting everything lined up. So let's see what we can do here. Looks like we got to get the window track all the way down first, just so we can physically fit the glass down into the door. Also making sure that it goes into this new track that I installed for the windlace seal. There we go. Okay, I got it in the track. That's step 1. Now I just have to get the window track rolled up to meet the door glass. Okay, there it is. Looking good. All right, let's try out the window. Nice. All right, let's get that upholstered door panel on that we made earlier. Really start to shape up this door now. So we're moving right along on this door panel. It's coming out really nice. What I'm going to do next is, I mentioned earlier about a trim piece. I want to make a piece to cap off this area right here. Unfortunately, I don't have the garnish moldings that would have went around the window frame, which were cut down and chopped when they chopped the roof on this, the Bernardo brothers. So until I find a pair, which I'll then cut down and chop to fit, I want to do something right now. So I'm thinking of taking a piece of stainless pipe, cutting it. I made a little sample piece so I can put it on top of that door ledge and up against the door panel, which will also help retain that upper edge nice and tight to the door and give it a unique finished off look. So I got the radius here determined. I'll transfer this to the pipe and I'll basically cut a sliver out of this that we'll put onto here, trim the ends to fit, and get it mounted to the door. All right, so you saw me cutting the piece out of the pipe that we need. I'm going to fit it up to the door, trim and notch out the ends, and fit it back up there once more. All right, let's try that. So I got the ends notched. Took a little bit of, couple of trimming tries, but we got it. Now I want to cut the ends off that exceed past the door edge. So I got this piece fitting good. What I'm going to do next is make a little end cap for right here. So I'll take one of the scraps that I had cut off from earlier and use that as my piece. Mark out the shape. Get it cut out and weld it into position. So I got the end cap on. Now I'm just going to final fit it and mark 3 locations for mounting screws, and then we should be done. So we got those 2, and then I'll split the difference in the middle and drill the 3rd hole. So I got the 3 holes drilled, and I also countersunk them so when you put the screws in, the heads are flush. So it'd be similar to a factory style trim piece, what they would have done. So what I'll do now is transfer the marks for the holes onto the door, get those drilled, and get this screwed into position. Let's bring you in closer to check out that trim piece I just made. I'll give it a light sanding and polishing later on, make it shine like chrome. Ultimately, we'll have to get a new window cut for that door, but right now we got it all back together and looking good. Let's take a look at it from the driver's side with the door closed. Gives it a nice finished off look in here. Looks very period correct, very old school. I love it. So, more to go, but we're getting there. Well, it's about that time. Time to close out this episode. We had a great day of progress. We met our goal of getting the door put back together and looking like something. So we got the window in, we got a new window regulator, we got the latch mechanism, we got a new window crank handle, new door latch handle, we got this door panel upholstered, we got this top trim molding fabricated to cap off the top of the door panel and give it a nice finished off look. We'll just be going back in as time allows it. I want to polish this up. I want to lay this out in the sun, get some of the wrinkles out. But we're moving in the right direction. What we're trying to do with this truck right now is get it back on the road. We're not looking to get it back to the show condition that it was in, not yet. But my goal is to drive it, get all the little mechanical bugs worked out, then go back in with the body work that we started, fine tune it, finish it off, get some heavy coats of primer and get that block sanded, and then we'll ultimately paint this truck. But that's down the road. For now, we're just trying to get the thing back together and drive it. So a lot of the stuff may not be finished off, you're thinking, but that's because I'm not finished. So check back in and keep up on the progress. Not sure what I'm going to be working on next with the truck, so you'll have to come back to find out. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider a subscription to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss a single episode. Thanks again, and see you next time.